Now we talked about the depth chart and the roster, which was something we hadn't seen maybe ever before. It was just Byron heading into the draft, and now it's loaded with. They have 14 draft picks, and they signed a lot of guys after the draft.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a fun camp. The coaches, I think, are gonna love this camp. With all these players they can try to mold into professional, go back to the days of coaching. I get to coach. So that's what's going to be.
No egos either. A lot less egos you're going to have to deal with. A lot less egos you're going to have to deal with because these guys are all, they had 44 guys on their roster heading into draft weekend, and no one else in the league was even close to that.
Now.
And I don't think in all my years with our lads and using our lads for the pro depth charts, where I still think they're the best in the business, right? I've never seen this much green. It's just like, this team, man. I want to trust what the coaching staff can do and their front office, but it looks like they just threw a bunch of stuff onto the wall, and they're hoping that they get a masterpiece art piece out of it because. This is a really tough sell that this team can compete, even though they have a franchise quarterback. They have the best defensive lineman in football. They have maybe the best wide receiver in football. But the rest of this roster, man, it is scary what could be happening to this team.
It's like
year.
the NBA when you have like one or two really good players. It's like we're trying to win like the way the Cavs won with LeBron back in the day when it was LeBron and a bunch of players. And that's what they got. They got like 2 or 3 superstars and a bunch of players. And but there were, because the thing is when you take a look at it, there just isn't one guy that they drafted where you go, that's the face of their draft. They're just players. Not saying they're bad. Avila, good. You needed offensive line help. You brought in McClendon and Avila, especially Avila. He could play multiple positions. Good, fine. You added a couple of guys up front, Hampton, Young, and Turner. Fine, good, great. Okay. What were they thinking? Drafting Stetson Bennett in the 4th round.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to their press conference. I actually listened to it this morning.
Is this ego-driven? I'll make him into a superstar.
Yeah, they thought that he's underrated. They said he's had a really unconventional journey. But they said when they watched him play, they saw someone that was accurate. He understood timing. He's athletic. He anticipates well. He played in a pro-style offense. They failed to mention that he played on the best team in college football the past 2 years by a pretty wide margin.
That was helpful. Not that he did not – look, everything about Stetson Bennett was all the intangibles, which were through the roof. He was really a gamer, no question about it.
I mean, off the field, he got arrested this pre-draft process. So I don't know if he's that clean off the field.
What did he get arrested for?
Public intoxication, one of those things, partying. Yeah, but it's funny. The Rams, to me, they believe that they're trailblazers, and in some ways they are. The way they built their Super Bowl winning team was unconventional. They haven't picked in the 1st round since when? I think it was Jared Goff was the last time they used a 1st round pick. Which is crazy if you think about it, right? And everyone in an era where we say you have to build through the draft, they were just sending draft picks away. And fortunately, I don't want to call it luck, but fortunately the guys that they traded for worked out, stayed healthy for the most part. And now I want the league and the fans to see this. This is eventually what's going to happen to your team if you do that. You're going to try to find, a bunch of guys that, are backup caliber football players, and they're going to be starters on your football team. And in most cases, that will not work. But the Rams, to me, they ooze confidence. It's almost like they expected this and they think this is going to work. But, to me, I really think they're playing darts in a pitch black room. They're just hoping that it sticks. And this could be really ugly. I like Steve Avila. I love what he can offer on the inside, and he played really good football against his best competition, Messiah Smith and Jalen Carter, in the college football playoffs. I like Byron Young and Kobe Turner as situational pass rushers. Every down defenders, not so much. Bennett, don't even want to get into that. I do love the tight end they got in the 5th round, Davis Allen. I believe he's going to be a key piece to their team moving forward. Tomlinson, the corner from TCU, the Thorpe Award winner, undersized, yes, but he's a football player. And I do think they got the best running back
What
value in the
happened
draft
to him?
with
Yes.
Zach Evans.
Was it his?
There's a character red flag.
Was. Okay.
Yes. And I'll tell you what, sometimes, and I always don't really know what to do with this kind of stuff. You know, there's some information I'll get, and I won't get it till after the draft. And I kind of like it that way because I never want to be tempted to put something out there against a young man that's having his career. Not that I have any sort of influence over a team, but I don't mind talking about it after the draft. If I find out something, because it won't have any impact on anything. So there's a character issue there. But they traded up 37 spots for this kid. And I'm looking at their running back depth chart right now, and I'm not sure what they have in Cam Akers anymore. Post-injury,
no, they needed another running back. No question about it. I think this is it's a great value.
I think Evans is the most talented back on that team. I'm going to say that right now. I don't know if he's NFL ready, if he could pass protect, all that good stuff. But this kid almost averaged 7 yards a carry. And one of those years was in the SEC. It wasn't just Big 12 football. So he's a good player. If he keeps his head on straight, he's gonna be a good value for this.
And look, regarding Bennett, the main reason why I was surprised about it is just because we know how much they need talent in so many other positions that to take Stetson Bennett, you better believe that he's going to potentially. That pick to me says he's going to be taking over, we believe, Matthew Stafford's job in a couple of years. That's what that says to me. Otherwise, why are you drafting a backup quarterback with all of your holes to fill in the 4th round?
Yeah. Yeah, that, or they believe that, I don't think they would publicly admit this. I'm making this up. Maybe they think that this is going to be a really bad year coming up. And they will be at the top of the draft next year. And they will get Caleb Williams or Drake May. And Stetson Bennett is the guy that they want backing him up for the next 3-4 years. Maybe that's it. Maybe they're thinking that far ahead. I don't know, but it was a very confusing decision, both as a player, but also where they did it. You get good football players in the 4th round every single year.
Especially on this roster. Oh, and by the way, Stetson Bennett locked the door after the pick. That's your time you can get drunk and party, because you got drafted by McKay and the Rams, which you could not have been drafted by a better quarterback coach that is going to do and maximize your abilities. So home run for Stetson Bennett. He's living the dream. That's for sure. By the way, the other pick that I think might have been just as silly was why are you drafting in the 5th round this receiver from BYU?
Oh yeah. Often injured, spent more time injured than he spent on the field.
I'm sorry. I don't get it. So
there was a lot of good receivers available too. My guess would be yard after. The one thing he did well on the scouting report that we had was just he's good after the catch. He's strong. He's stable. They love that in that offense, but I could give you 5 guys I think did that at a much higher level than him that were available.
And
at that point.
I think they could have added another offensive lineman, please. I mean, they get a couple of injuries in the offensive line. I mean, I don't even want to know who's going to be out there blocking for them. But anyway, by the way, who was your top? Because they had so many. Give us your top. It's interesting when you're looking at special teams; they're all rookies. Give me your top undrafted free agent for the Rams.
I was going to say the kicker, Chris Dunn. I believe he'll be their kicker next year. I don't think there's going to be much competition. And, he won the Lou Groza Award. He's not that matters that much, but he was an All-American. And, this is part of the reason why we say don't use picks on kickers and punters unless you think they're special. But to get a guy in undrafted free agency, that will be a big part of your team like that. I like what he offers right away. I also like Tyon Evans, the running back that took from Louisville. Okay. He's a guy that I think that can make this roster over someone like Ronnie Rivers. And he's an undersized slot receiver that was really impressive to me in the pre-draft process. I might even say he's a better player than Tutu Atwell. And if they want more slot out of the back end of their wide receiver group, I think he's going to get a look.
Although guy that stuck out for me was Quindell Johnson.